Hey guys, it's Izzy here, and today we're going to be looking at my August TBR. I almost said April, but it's August, so these are all of the books that I would like to read and review on this channel in the month of August. Let's get into it. The first book is The Many Daughters of Afong Moy by James Ford. So as you can see, I've already started and I am attempting to finish it in the next day or two. This is historical fiction, but kind of with a twist. So Afong Moy was the first Chinese woman in the United States, or at least documented, that we know of. And so it's going through this thing called epigenetics. Epigenetics is, we don't really know if it happens to humans, but I would say yes. So basically at Emory University, there was a test done on mice with a certain kind of like citrus scent. So that was done on one generation of mice and it really freaked them out, scared them. So if you go down a few generations later of mice, those descendants of the original mice would still get scared when they smelled that scent, even though they had never experienced that before. So it's, a lot of people see it with Holocaust survivors as well and their descendants, that there might be some trauma that maybe causes a fear a few generations down the line. So, but it's not confirmed that it happens to humans yet, but that's kind of what this book is looking at. So with Afong Moy, she was in the United States in like the 1830s, or that is like when her fame was happening, because she was basically turned into a circus act for being the only Chinese woman in the United States. She met Andrew Jackson and was like a celebrity, but enslaved at the same time. So we have her, and it's following her descendants all over the world. We have San Francisco during a cholera pandemic. We have England in the 1920s. We have China during World War II. We have Seattle in the 2010s, and then Seattle again in like the 2040s, where there's a lot of like climate, like there's a lot more storms and that kind of thing. And then we will have a plot line, and I think it said 2086, but I have not got to that part. So it's following the trauma that Afong Moy went through and how trauma can affect future generations. The next book that I plan to read this month is one of my 5-star predictions, and that is Washington, A History of Our National Capital by Tom Lewis. Now, as you can see, this is quite the thick one, and I cannot find an audiobook for it, so I'm low-key terrified, because for nonfiction and 4 books over 500 pages, I'm not sure this one's over 500 pages, no it's not, I like to do audiobooks just because usually it's the author narrating, and sometimes nonfiction can be dense, so it's easier for me to be reading it physically and having that audio in my ear. But I'm not gonna have that with this. So kind of scary, but Washington is my favorite city that I've visited in the whole world. I've been to Europe, I've been to the Caribbean, I've been to other North American countries, but Washington is my favorite, and I cannot wait to learn the history of our nation's capital. Now I have a science fiction pick, and that is Camp Zero by Michelle Min Sterling. So this is a near future. A lot of people have gone north because it is so hot because of climate catastrophes. I really like science fiction that is near future, dystopian, climate issues. I don't know why I'm really into that, because I don't even know if I believe it will get that bad, get to that point. I'm not going to go into my beliefs on climate change. I don't think that's political, but people like to make things controversial. So I'm not getting into my thoughts on climate change, but I do love reading about it. So this is a near future northern settlement that the fates of a young woman, a professor, and a mysterious collective of climate researchers collide in this mesmerizing and transportive debut novel. Then we have a classic, and this is one that I stole from my grandmother, but it is Far from the Maddening Crowd by Thomas Hardy. I don't really even know what it's about, but I did like Tessa de Iberville's by Thomas Hardy, so I do want to read more of his work. So let's see what it says here. Love is a possible strength in an actual weakness. Ooh, great quote. Beautiful, impulsive, and spirited, Bathsheba Everdene's fortunes are changed forever when she inherits her own farm and becomes a woman of independent means. Set in Hardy's evocative Wessex countryside, Bathsheba is pursued by 3 very different suitors: the reliable and humble Gabrielle Oak, the vain and impetuous Troy, and the reserved yet determined Boldwood. With the morals of rural society weighing heavily upon her, it is through these relationships that Bathsheba, sorry, can't talk, experiences the torture of unrequited love and betrayal and discovers how random acts of chance and tragedy can alter the pathway of a life dramatically. That sounds great to me. I'm kind of wondering when this takes place. I'm seeing it says 1912, but was that when it was published? I'm not sure, but can't wait to pick that up. And lastly, we have another 5-star prediction, and it is a modern classic, and that is Play As It Lays by Joan Didion. I love the White Room, I think, White Album. I don't know. I think it's White Album. White Room is an album, but not what I'm talking about. So I loved that, and that was a short story, like nonfiction essay collection. And this one is fiction. So I've never read fiction by Joan Didion, but I loved the White Album, so I can't wait to read more from her. So a ruthless dissection of life, of American life in the late 1960s, Joan Didion's Play It As It Lays captures the mood of an entire generation, plumbing the emptiness and Ennui. It's like Ennui. I've never seen that word. Of seemingly bankrupt society and spare sentences that scour and disturb. Set in the morale limbos of Hollywood, Las Vegas, and the Mojave Desert, Play It As It Lays remains more than 40 years after its original publication, a profoundly unsettling novel, riveting in its exploration of a woman and a society in crisis, stunning in its still startling intensity of its prose. That sounds great, and I love this cover. I would love to have like this on my wall. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you made it all the way through, leave a snake emoji in the comments below and tell me what books you plan to read this month. As always, comment, rate, and subscribe, and don't forget to ring that notification bell to be notified when all my videos go live. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!